and need urgent medical attention. Be honest about any drink or drugs that have been taken. Doctors, nurses and paramedics are concerned with saving your life, not snitching on you. An emergency situation is not the time to be protecting your reputation. It's also not the time to be embarrassed about anything. I promise doctors have seen it before. They do not care that you take Viagra at 25. They just care that they won't prescribe you nitrates on top of that for your heart condition, because combining those two can cause deadly low blood pressure. If they ask you what drugs you take, be honest. If they ask you about a specific drug, be 100% honest, because there's a reason they're asking and it's your life on the line. If someone is making you feel uncomfortable, no matter what or why, you don't have to justify leaving the situation or find a reason first. Being nice gets you killed. As a trans girl who lived on the streets for 6 months, always trust your gut feeling. Always guarantee your own safety before helping someone in a first aid situation. It might seem obvious, but it is overlooked way too often. For example, when someone is unconscious in a closed space and there are no direct clues to the cause, always assume there is CO and the room isn't safe to enter. Try to ventilate the room and get the person out of there as quick as possible. But don't risk your life by staying in there for too long. Edit. CO equals carbon monoxide. If you are ever caught in a riptide, swim parallel to the shoreline and perpendicular to the current. If you swim into it, you will die. If you let it take you out to sea and aren't a strong swimmer, you'll die. If you aren't a strong swimmer, stay the FCK out of the ocean. I've always read about riptides but just got caught in one for the first time last summer. It was different than I always imagined it. I was trying to catch a good wave and was standing in chest high water. I dove under the one coming up to try to get out to where they were breaking better. And when I came up I could no longer touch. Each coming wave would pull me toward it as it gathered up and then swelled over me before breaking, leaving me being pulled out again to the one behind it. After struggling for a few minutes it finally clicked. I had a moment of panic, then swam diagonally back toward the beach and was out of it within a minute. It was actually very scary, and if this hadn't been drilled into me I don't know if I would have figured it out. To me it just felt like it was because the waves were too close together or too strong or something. Not that I was in one singular current. Never mix ammonia and bleach. Lots of cleaning products contain one or the other. Read labels before mixing. What happens if they mix? The gas it produces destroys lung tissue, and I think it's called chlorine gas. Was used in World War I by the German army and killed a lot of soldiers and destroyed a lot of PPLS lungs. If someone breaks into your home and you use a bat to protect yourself, put a sock over top of it so if they grab the bat, you can take it back because the sock will slide off. Edit. Thanks for the award. If you're the first person to be on the scene of an emergency, don't wait for someone else to call emergency services. Do it yourself. If 10 people assume someone else will do it, no one will. And someone could die. If you're unable to do it yourself, ask a specific person to call, rather than saying someone call 911, 999, etc. If you've got stroke symptoms, droopy face, weakness in one arm or leg, or word finding difficulty, they aren't kidding when they say time matters. You can end up with dramatically worse results if you go to bed thinking you'll decide to go to the hospital or not in the morning. Determine when the last time you were well was. Have a time for when the symptoms started. Stick to those numbers firmly. And then get your ass to the ER. There are medications that can help a lot, but only if they're given within a precious few hours. Fewer hours than a night. Fewer hours than you've got after a bathroom trip in the small hours of the morning even. Go immediately. Don't be afraid to go to a psychologist. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I keep telling this to a friend of mine, but he keeps refusing. I try to help and listen, but in the end, there is only so much a normal person can do. Never hesitate to call police to report a missing person. The 24-hour rule is a myth. The 24 hours rule used to be standard operating procedure by police. This is why it persists. Over time, they learned that the first few hours were the most critical in finding someone. And now people are confused. Throw a few bottles of water and a blanket under the seats of your car. You never know when you're stuck in a bad situation. Edit. I didn't mean for the bottles to be thrown under the seat unsecured. Just an Aussie euphemism for you. Please appropriately secure your bottles under the seat to avoid accidents. Don't lie to doctors or lawyers. They can't rat on you without severe consequences to their livelihood. Can confirm. If I severed someone's carotid artery while putting in a central line and they died, I'd stand to lose way less than if I disclose sensitive information about a patient. HIPAA don't FCK around. Not really a normal tip for a normal guy, but if you somehow find yourself in a North Korean hotel, remember that the rooms are bugged. At least in the room that I was staying in. To save your child's life, if they start talking crazy, laughing or crying uncharacteristically or for no reason, just feel their forehead to check for a fever. Takes 2 seconds. But happened with my daughter once. She looked fine but was acting like something out of The Exorcist. When I felt it, she was burning up with something like a 103 fever. Could have been really bad if I'd let it go. And she was too young and or messed up to even realize what was really happening to her. If you ever feel like your life is not worth living anymore, reach out to friends, family, or anyone really. You will find that your friends and family will think otherwise. The best advice I ever got from someone was thinking back when things were really bad and realizing that in retrospect they weren't, and that I should always give a future me the opportunity to solve my today problems. If you fall into a fast moving river, do not stand up. You risk pinning your ankle in rocks or debris in the riverbed and getting knocked over by the current. This carries a high risk of drowning. Float on your back. Keep your feet up. And wait until you find calmer water. Then make your way onto the shore. Adding to this, try and make sure your feet are pointing downstream. If you smash your foot into a rock or log that you can't see, you'll have a much better chance of still getting to shore than if you smash your head. If someone, especially a kid, is choking on their food or some object, don't try to pull it out of their mouth by sticking your fingers in it. You'll only force the stuff deeper. Panicked mothers have killed their children this way. Learn the correct maneuver instead. Spend 1 stroke to a day and learn how to perform CPR for 10 minutes. Saying this as someone who dragged an old lady from the water whilst holidaying in Prague and had to perform CPR that I'd learned in Army cadets training. Do not pour water on a cooking oil fire. It will explode and send burning oil everywhere. The fire will only become much larger and more intense. Turn off the heat and cover the pot or pan with a lid. If you find yourself stuck in a car underwater, to break the windows, don't kick the middle where the glass is the thickest. Instead, kick near the edges where it's thinner. If your car has detachable headrests, the metal bars work great for breaking car windows. I'd recommend getting one of those emergency multi-tools for your center console. I've never had to use mine, but I make a habit of reminding myself it exists just in case. Basically used for breaking glass and cutting your seatbelt if stuck. Don't take selfies at dangerous places, like edge of a cliff, canyon, waterfalls, near dangerous animals, etc. A few social media likes aren't worth the lifelong pain of your family and friends. If you or someone else notice a strong mothball-like scent on someone's breath, this is often a sign of imminent liver failure. It even has a charming name. It's referred to as breath of the dead. Double quote. If you don't trust someone to be by themselves in that moment, don't leave. You don't have to be right there next to them or even in the same room, but if you don't trust them with their own life, don't leave even if they scream at you and call you names to try and make you leave. If you're alone and choking, get down on the ground on your knees. Put your palms on the ground as if you were going to do a press up. Lean forward and pull your arms away, letting your full weight crash to the ground. The force on your chest may be enough to dislodge the blockage in your throat. Make sure to have a smoke alarm smoke detector in your bedroom and the rooms leading to your front door or outside. They're cheap and they will save your life. You won't always be able to detect smoke or a fire, especially when you're sleeping. If someone's having a coughing fit choking, ask them, "Are you choking?" If they start cursing you for a dumb question, then they're not choking, or they just reply with whatever and should be able to sort themselves out on their own. Keep an eye on them to make sure. If they can't answer you, start pawing at themselves. Or stand up to leave, but can't talk, they're choking and you need to start first aid. My family are well used to me just mildly watching them cough and asking, "Are you choking?" I do not bang them on the back just because. I don't think any of you will fall off a plane or something. But if you first do, don't aim at the water. Rather go for something that will slow your speed over a longer distance, like branches or snow. And in the absurd case where you really have to go into water, feet forward. Maybe slightly bend it to reduce injury. Always tow a vehicle with a rope or strap. Never use a chain. If the chain snaps, it becomes a steel whip and can kill someone. My dad's friend is a farmer and did this. He used his tractor to tow a truck and the chain snapped, cutting his face in half. He would have bled to death if his brother hadn't found him. If someone's having a seizure, get them on their side as fast as possible. Sitting up during a seizure is an easy way to lose oxygen fast and get serious brain damage. On another note, don't hold them down either. The one time some idiots did that to me, I had bruises for days afterwards. Holding a person down is how you get really serious injuries, beyond any potential brain damage. If you think someone you know might be thinking of suicide, ask them. It's always better to ask and be wrong than the other way around. If you can't get a hold of them, the police can do a wellness check if needed. It's to help them, not get them in any trouble. Complacency kills. When it comes to heavy machinery, weapons, power tools, vehicles, and many other things, get complacent with it and it will take your life before you realize it. But complacency with many other things can kill some aspect of your life. Complacency with where you are in life can kill your drive and motivation. Complacency with who you are can kill your knowledge base from increasing or your life experiences from expanding. So many other way. Complacency kills. Never let yourself become complacent. You deserve more better than what you have and only you can provide it. You deserve a better you. Complacency can prevent that. Always strive for more. To increase yourself in some way. Financially, emotionally, spiritually. However, complacency will cause you to stagnate and stagnation is death. Keep going. You deserve it. If you are in or around a car accident that involves downed power lines, don't leave the car or walk toward the car unless you have no other choice. Car on fire. If you do have to leave the car, you need to make sure you don't touch the metal car body and ground at the same time. Once you are free of the car, shuffle your feet with them together until you are at least 10 meters, 30 feet, from the crash site. If you are not sure, keep shuffling until you are more than 4 car lengths from the crash. Also, don't assume because the lines are not sparking they are not live. The circuit breaker may have tripped, but some circuits have reclosers which may try to close the circuit breaker a couple more times to clear a fault. If you can, stay in the car until the utilities say it is safe.